Chosen one, a federal officer has been assigned to locate you and deliver recovered inheritance money. And they have no idea they're about to change someone's life forever. But here's the insane part. Chosen one, someone has been stealing from you for years, living in your house, spending your money, pretending to be your family. And the way they finally got caught is so unbelievably reckless that you won't believe it when I tell you. The FBI has been building a case around your stolen fortune, and what they discovered about your real family background is about to shatter everything you thought you knew about yourself. We're talking generational wealth, multiple properties, investment accounts that have been growing while you struggled to pay rent, and the person who stole it all. They're about to face federal prison time while you get handed the keys to a life you never imagined possible. Right now, as you're reading this, there are federal investigators who know your name. They've been building a case around your stolen inheritance, and when I tell you how much money we're talking about, you're going to understand why this became a federal priority. But here's what's really wild. The person who stole from you made one critical mistake that exposed everything. We'll get to that mistake in a minute, but first you need to understand what they were hiding from you. You come from generational wealth, chosen one, real wealth, not comfortable middle-class wealth. We're talking about the kind of money that changes everything for multiple generations. Someone in your family line built something substantial and left it specifically for you. The problem? A false guardian intercepted it, and they've been living like royalty on your inheritance while you struggled to pay bills. But here's the beautiful part. They got greedy, and greed always leaves a trail. This person presented themselves as your legal guardian. They had forged birth certificates, fake custody documents, fraudulent social security records, the works. They were so convincing that even government agencies believed them for years. But here's what they didn't count on. Your real family had lawyers, good lawyers, the kind of lawyers who put safeguards in place to protect inherited wealth from exactly this kind of fraud. Some of your inheritance was locked in accounts that required specific documentation this fake guardian couldn't provide. Some properties had trustees asking questions they couldn't answer. Some investments had verification requirements that exposed their false identity. And that's when federal investigators got involved. Because when someone tries to access millions of dollars using forged federal documents, that's not just theft, that's federal fraud. But wait until you hear about the house party scheme. This gets absolutely insane. Here's where this story gets almost unbelievable. You own multiple properties, high-value properties, properties in locations where real estate has exploded in value over the past decade. And your fake guardian? They were planning to throw a house party in your house without inviting you. They were literally going to celebrate stealing your inheritance in the space that belongs to you while keeping you completely in the dark. The audacity is mind-blowing. But here's the karma part. They couldn't enjoy it. Every time they walked through those rooms, something felt wrong. Because energy doesn't lie, chosen one. Sometimes the universe uses crisis to reveal truth. The person living off your inheritance is dealing with serious health issues now, the kind that comes from living a lie for too long. This health crisis is what started unraveling everything. Medical records require real names. Insurance claims demand authentic documentation. Hospital visits create paper trails that federal investigators can follow. In their moment of vulnerability, when they were too sick to maintain all their stories, the truth started spilling out. And that's when their network of accomplices started panicking. Because yes, there were accomplices. And what they're doing now is going to give you chills. Your fake guardian didn't work alone. There was a whole network of people who knew about your inheritance and decided to help themselves to it. Family members who thought they deserved it more than you. Friends who got greedy. Professionals who were supposed to protect your interests but chose to profit instead. But here's what happens when federal charges are on the table. Everyone starts trying to save themselves. They're making deals with prosecutors. They're revealing details about the whole operation. They're throwing each other under the bus so fast, it's creating a traffic jam. One person in particular, someone who was supposed to be family, has been spreading lies about you for years, trying to make you look unstable, so if anyone investigated you wouldn't be taken seriously. But their desperation is showing now. And wait until you hear what the FBI found. This isn't just a local police matter. Federal agencies have been building a case around your situation. Mail fraud, wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy charges. We're talking about crimes that carry decades in prison. FBI agents know your name. Federal prosecutors have been reviewing evidence. Forensic accountants have been tracking every dollar stolen from you and following the money trail to see exactly where it went. And they found something that's going to shock you. Your inheritance is bigger than anyone imagined. We're not just talking about the money that was stolen. We're talking about investments that have been growing, properties that have been appreciating, accounts that have been accumulating value for years. But here's the part that's going to change everything. The officer who's coming to find you. There's a federal officer who has been specifically assigned to your case, not to investigate you, to serve you, to find you, to hand-deliver news that's going to transform your life completely. This officer has seen all the evidence. They know what was stolen from you. They know who did it. They know how long it's been going on. And they know you've been living a completely different life than what you should have been living. This isn't routine notification. This officer is coming to your door carrying documents that prove everything you've ever suspected about your family situation. They're carrying validation that your instincts were protecting you. They're carrying your inheritance. And when I tell you what's in that inheritance portfolio, you're going to need to sit down. Multiple properties in areas where real estate has exploded. Investment accounts that have been growing for decades. Life insurance policies you never knew existed. Bank accounts with balances that will eliminate every financial worry you've ever had. Your real family didn't just leave you something nice. They left you generational wealth. The kind of money that changes your children's lives. The kind of money that changes your grandchildren's lives. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Some of this wealth has been generating income that should have been coming to you. Rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, interest from high-yield accounts. Your fake guardian has been collecting money that was meant to fund your life, and the amount we're talking about, it's going to blow your mind when that officer shows up. The following is a message from Mike, founder of the Obsidian Inner Order. Powered by Astral Atom. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you walk through this awakening alone. Never gonna scroll past your suffering like it's just content. This isn't just a rickroll. It's a lifeline in disguise. I built the Obsidian Inner Order because too many of us have been exiled for seeing the truth, cast out by family, gaslit by cults, haunted by gifts we didn't ask for. So now we gather. Every week, live on Zoom. Real people, real faces. A former CFO turned psychic. A seer who escaped Mormonism. A healer who broke free of ritual abuse. And yes, the calls are recorded, so when you're on the floor, you can come back to the field. We're not a meme, we're a miracle, and we're never gonna give you up. Join the Obsidian Inner Order. Link in the description. You own properties in multiple states. Properties that have been generating rental income for years. Properties where the value has increased by hundreds of thousands of dollars while you didn't even know they existed. Your fake guardian has been collecting rent checks in your name. They've been making decisions about renovations and improvements using your inheritance money. They've been living like real estate moguls, using your assets, but every transaction created records, bank statements, property tax documents, insurance policies, rental agreements. A massive paper trail that investigators followed to document exactly what belongs to you. And when that officer hands you those property deeds, you're going to own more real estate than you ever imagined. While you've been struggling financially, investment accounts with your name on them have been accumulating value. Stock portfolios, mutual funds, retirement accounts. Your family made investments decades ago that are now worth fortunes. Some of these investments were in companies that became household names. Stock purchased for dollars per share is now worth hundreds per share. Small investments made when you were a child have grown into substantial portfolios. Your fake guardian has been watching these accounts grow, knowing all this wealth was meant for you. But they couldn't access everything. Some accounts had safeguards that ultimately exposed them. You're going to sit in a federal courtroom watching justice unfold. In real time, you're going to see people you thought you knew being exposed for who they really are. You're going to watch their fake stories crumble under oath. The person who posed as your guardian is going to have to admit they've been living a lie for years. They're going to have to explain why they thought they could steal your inheritance. They're going to face decades in federal prison. But here's the most satisfying part. You're going to realize you were never the problem. All those times you felt like something was wrong with your family dynamics, you were right. Your instincts were protecting you from criminals. You're fake. Guardian worked hard to control your narrative. They needed you to appear less significant, less deserving of attention, so their theft could continue undetected. They probably spread stories about you being difficult or unstable. But when your real story comes out, when people learn about your actual family background, your legitimate inheritance, your true circumstances, the shift in how you're treated is going to be dramatic. People who dismissed you are going to suddenly want to know you. People who underestimated you are going to realize they made a serious mistake. People who thought they were better than you are going to discover they were completely wrong about your status. Once the legal system officially recognizes your rightful inheritance, you're going to have protection you've never experienced. People won't be able to manipulate you because your resources will be documented. They won't be able to gaslight you about your family history because it will be public record. Your fake guardian and accomplices are going to federal prison for decades, not just for stealing from you, but for identity theft, document fraud, conspiracy, crimes that carry mandatory sentences. But more than that, you'll have resources to protect yourself going forward. The best attorneys, financial advisors, security if needed. You'll make choices based on what's best for you, not what you can afford. When that officer shows up with your inheritance documentation, everything changes instantly. Not just your bank balance. Everything about how you see yourself and how the world sees you transforms. You'll discover you're not the struggling person circumstances forced you to become. You are someone who comes from substantial generational wealth, and you always have been. This inheritance gives you options you never thought possible. Career, choices based on passion, not salary. Living locations based on preference, not affordability. The ability to help people without sacrificing your own security. Real financial security changes how you move through the world. You'll never again check your bank balance before making a purchase. You'll never choose between paying bills. You'll never worry about losing your home or transportation. That security affects every aspect of your life. Your stress levels, your health, your relationships, your ability to take risks and pursue dreams, your capacity to be generous with others. The constant underlying anxiety of financial insecurity is going to disappear completely. That's a kind of freedom money can't buy, except in your case, inherited money literally will buy it for you. And here's the timeline that's going to shock you. This isn't something that might happen if everything goes right. Legal machinery is already in motion. Investigations are complete. Evidence has been gathered and verified. Indictments are being prepared. Right now, there are people in law enforcement coordinating how to contact you. The officer coming to find you has already been briefed on your situation. They know where you live, how to reach you. The only reason you haven't been contacted yet is because they wanted everything lined up perfectly. All evidence organized, all legal documents prepared, all financial accounts identified and secured. They didn't want to tell you about your inheritance until they could give you immediate access to it. They didn't want to explain what was stolen until they could explain how they're getting it back. And when that knock comes on your door, picture this. You're going about your normal day when there's a knock at your door. You open it to find a federal officer with credentials and a folder full of documents. They verify your identity and then say words you never expected to hear. I'm here to inform you about an inheritance that's been recovered on your behalf. That moment, every limitation you accepted becomes obsolete. Every struggle you endured gets rewritten. Every dream you postponed becomes possible. The officer explains how they found you, how they uncovered the fraud, how they identified everyone responsible. They show you documents proving your real family history, your legitimate inheritance, your rightful ownership of assets you never knew existed. But more than that, they hand you immediate access to resources that eliminate every financial worry you've ever had. The people who stole from you aren't getting slaps on the wrist. Federal fraud charges carry mandatory minimums. Identity theft. Convictions result in significant prison time. Conspiracy charges add years to sentences. Your fake guardian is looking at decades in federal prison. Financial institutions that enabled the fraud face regulatory penalties. Everyone who participated in stealing your inheritance will face consequences matching their crimes. Beyond criminal charges, you can pursue civil remedies. Compensation for years of hardship, payment for opportunities missed, stress suffered, the life you were prevented from living, and the vindication is going to be complete. Your inheritance comes with stories about people who built this wealth through sacrifice and vision. You're not just inheriting money, you're inheriting responsibility to honor their memory and continue their legacy. They cared enough about descendants. They'd never meet to sacrifice immediate gratification for long-term family security. They worked harder, saved more, invested wiser than they had to, all to give future generations advantages they never had. Your fake guardian saw your inheritance as something to steal and spend, but your real family saw it as something to protect and grow. They trusted that someday the right person would inherit their life's work and use it meaningfully. That person is you, chosen one. Substantial wealth opens doors to a world most people never see. Private banking, exclusive investments, high-end real estate markets, events where networking happens at completely different levels. You'll have access to the best healthcare, education, legal representation, financial advice, personal services that save time and reduce stress, environments designed for comfort, security, and beauty. But more importantly, you'll have power to influence positive change, fund research leading to breakthroughs, support educational programs, invest in clean technology, be part of solutions to problems you care about. When your real story comes out, you're going to discover you have legitimate family members who have been looking for you. Wealthy relatives who knew about your inheritance and were concerned about why they couldn't contact you. People who suspected something was wrong but didn't know how to investigate. These are family members who hired private investigators to find you, but were blocked by your fake guardian's false identity schemes. Relatives who knew your real parents, who knew about the wealth left to you, who knew you were supposed to be living a completely different life. Some of these family members are wealthy themselves, part of the same bloodline that produced your inheritance. They're going to welcome you not just as a long-lost relative, but as someone who belongs in their social and economic circles. You're going to meet cousins who own businesses worth millions, aunts and uncles who have been managing family trusts for decades, distant relatives who can tell you stories about your real parents that explain exactly where your wealth came from and why it's so substantial. Here's the plot twist that's going to change everything. Your inheritance isn't just sitting in regular bank accounts. Your family set up sophisticated trust funds designed to protect and grow wealth across generations. Professional-grade wealth, management that's been working for you for years. While you've been struggling to pay bills, trust fund managers have been making investment decisions on your behalf. They've been buying and selling stocks, acquiring real estate, managing rental properties, all with the goal of maximizing your inheritance value. These trust funds have built-in protections that prevented your fake guardian from accessing everything, legal safeguards that required multiple forms of verification, investment strategies that actually increased your wealth while criminals were trying to steal it. The kicker? Some of these trusts have been generating substantial monthly distributions that were supposed to come to you automatically once you reached a certain age. Money that's been accumulating in special accounts because the trust managers couldn't locate the real you. We're talking about monthly payments that would have eliminated every financial struggle you've faced. Automatic deposits that would have funded the life you were meant to live. Income streams that have been building up like a dam, waiting for the moment when you could be properly identified and located. And the security that comes with all of this, it changes absolutely everything. The courts have made their choice, chosen one. The investigation is complete. The evidence is documented. The criminals are identified. Your inheritance is secured. A federal officer has been assigned to find you and hand-deliver documentation that will transform your life instantly. They're carrying proof of your real family history, your legitimate inheritance, your rightful ownership of substantial assets. When they knock on your door, and that knock is coming soon, they're not just delivering paperwork, they're delivering justice. They're delivering validation that the universe has been working behind the scenes to correct a massive wrong. They're delivering your inheritance, the inheritance that was always meant for you, the inheritance that criminals tried to steal but could never truly possess. Your real life is about to begin, chosen one. The officer is coming. Your inheritance is waiting.